Okay, we'll probably, Gil, we will give a couple of minutes, then we will listen to you all the way.
Is the chat disabled intentionally?
No, chat is turned on. People are
I
chatting.
have a message that I cannot send messages because I'm not a member of the chat.
Not sure why. Others are sending.
Yeah.
Try leaving the meeting and logging in again. Gil.
Oh, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. I never figured this thing out on Teams.
Hopefully he comes back.
It keeps changing every time. So
I know that's the. Otherwise, I have to plan some backup plan. I can't fill his shoes, but I will probably put something together. You're back. Oh, can you type in something?
Yeah, now I can.
Good.
Cool.
Awesome.
Right.
All right, let's get started, guys. It's 6:02. I think we will just jump into this, and no introduction to Gil. The ones I know when I put this on LinkedIn, Gil put it on LinkedIn, and then Sandeep shared a story about Gil when he met Gil in the first time. So I told at LinkedIn that I also have a story to share, which I told at that time I will share it during our session here today. So the story is 2019. Gil, you remember when we met first time?
I think was it in the MVP or before?
Yes.
Yeah, in the MVP. Yeah.
So 2019 was the first time when I became a Microsoft Data Platform MVP, and I had the opportunity to go to Seattle. And during that time, I get a chance to meet Gil. And the conversation which I remember having with Gil used to write a lot of blogs and all this stuff. And I never wrote blogs before that. And I asked him, hey, I want to start writing and all this stuff. And he gave me a lot of encouragement, what you should do, what you should not do, and all that stuff. And then that was really, really my first interaction with Gil. Just glad to have him here today. Thanks, Gil. Those were very useful tips. So that was my story when I met Gil.
Thank you. I'm a bit kind of humbled by the fact that you tell stories about like when you met me, because I'm just like, I'm just like this old person that's starting even to forget the times that I met first time some people. And especially like both of you, like you are doing so much in the community that your current contributions require a lot of memory for me to read and see and consume. So remembering like when I met you for the first time, it's like completely erased now.
Yeah.
I'm a bit exaggerating, but
yeah. No,
So-
it was awesome. So just to everyone, I want to record it so that when the video goes out, they know what it is. So okay, today we have Gil. I'm not gonna. We know the topic, what he's gonna talk about, and just quickly, if this is the first time you guys are joining our user group, thanks for coming. My name is Pravinder Chana. I'm in Vancouver. I started this user group, and then Sandeep came on board, and we both are doing it. We know who Sandeep is. Of course, he's not here anymore. He's not feeling very well. So he is Fabric Guru. Everything about Fabric, it's all Sandeep. I'm more on the Power BI side of things. That's what I do. I'm more on data modeling, DAX, and I think I know DAX, but I do get stuck somewhere. But anytime you guys have anything to do with DAX and all the stuff, please reach out. That's what I do. I run my own consulting, and Sandeep worked for Hitachi Solutions. He's a senior Power BI architect there. So I don't know. He does some crazy things and always scary stuff he tells me. Um, Again, just before we hand over to Gil, this will be recorded, and usually I'm very, uh, immediately I put the recording as soon as it's available. Teams take its own time, but as soon as it's available to me, I just put it on for everyone to watch it and share the link over in case you have to leave this. The recording will be there. Please keep yourself muted during this presentation and raise your hands, and I'm pretty sure Gil will be happy to answer any questions. And if you are putting a question in chat, just prefix with Q so that we know it's a question. But I will be looking at the chat today, and all yours, Gil. Take it from here now. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just show my screen. How much time do we have today?
We have 55 more minutes, but I'm okay to stay longer as far as you are, but
Sure. No,
yeah.
That's good to know. So I'll just make sure that I'm sharing everything and keep all the good stuff within the scope. Okay, so just 1 second. You see my screen, right? The presentation now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not a person of presentations. I'll just show you a few slides, and then everything will be live demos. So let's just get started. Today we'll talk about how you can measure the effectiveness of your Power BI reports and why this is important. I'll try to give you some motivation to think about it in a strategic way, what is available to you today out of the box very, very quickly. But then most of the time we'll spend on a new solution that I developed. And I would be really happy if you would consider exploring it as a proof of concept. Or just to give you some motivation for the things that you can do better with Power BI. Okay, so just like a bit about me, perhaps it's more for those that will see the recording. My name is Gil Raviv. I'm an author of a Power Query book. You see here the screenshot from the book. That's a book that was released just last December, a second edition of the Power Query. Everything you want to know about Power Query with exercises. Second edition was mainly provided by Daniel Masliuk at the time where I was still employed by Amazon and could not work on anything that is Microsoft related. Second thing I wanted to talk about, like myself and why I'm sharing some knowledge with you today, is around 2013, I joined Microsoft as a product manager to deliver Power BI components into Excel 2016. After an experience as a product manager, I fell in love with Power BI, started with Power Query, but gradually with all the other components and the capabilities, and decided to move from product management to consulting. But what I'm going to share with you today is a accumulation of knowledge and experience in two different domains. The first domain is product management, and I worked a lot in the high-tech industry, both in like cybersecurity, where I happened to design dashboards for intrusion detection systems and different reporting and information event management solutions on the cybersecurity front, and later moved to Microsoft. I had also some experience on the competition by Amazon AWS, a product called Amazon QuickSight. But that's like on the product management side, and the other domain is business intelligence. And I worked with the community, shared a lot of knowledge on my blog datachant.com, and eventually served for around 6 years as a global practice lead in Avanade and later on at AWS to deliver BI solutions for enterprises. Now, when I'm thinking about both worlds, one world is you are a product manager of a digital product and you need to measure the success of your product. And the other world of consulting on BI, I felt that there is a unique opportunity and a missing need for the BI community, for people that are delivering mission critical reports and dashboards, to be able to measure those elements as if you would be a product manager of your own company, of your own digital product. And that's what we will focus on today. And based on this motivation, I worked really hard for the last year, developing and releasing a product that I'll demonstrate to you today. And I hope you'll find it inspiring. So everyone here in this room, right, like we are professional BI developers. We deliver solutions with Power BI. And in many, many cases, we feel really happy and satisfied about our profession. We deliver mission critical reports for large audiences, or C-level executives are using our dashboards. And we think that this is like something that is making a complete impact to our organizations. Some of you may even influence or manage projects with 7-figure budgets where you have vendors, consultants. You may bring consultants like me and Parv to your company to help you build some mission critical reports, or it may be like migration, hundreds or thousands of legacy BI solutions that you want to move to Power BI. And in all these cases, even though there is like major success and Power BI is an amazing tool, there is constant challenge with delivering solutions on Power BI. And not because Power BI is not like amazing tool, because dashboards are dashboards, and there is always the challenge to make an adaptation, to design the solution in the right way, to overcome all the different elements of performance issues and user experiences, an overwhelming backlog of bugs and feature requests from the business, and people that are getting used to just export the data to Excel. And the final challenge is that, like, even if you have a mission critical project with Power BI reports and you got the funding from your managers to invest and deliver it last year, how can you just justify the investment next year when it's so difficult to measure the return on investment of the dashboard themselves? Right? Like, analytic solutions are kind of a check mark that organizations need to make, but it's very difficult to then measure how much money you save to your company with the dashboards that you deliver. So all these elements are quite challenging. And now the thing that is interesting is that when you bring experts like Forrester, Gartner, companies that are providing strategic advisory to different companies, these companies can go through all your investment. It will be an expensive engagement for you to have. But like theoretically, if you bring smart people, a lot of them, they can research over how your audience consume your reports, and they can eventually provide you an assessment that will measure what is the return on investment of your Power BI reports and your analytic investment. So in this slide, you can see like Microsoft paid Forrester to make research on a significant amount of companies And perhaps like if you are in the business of Power BI, you may even came across those reports as well. But you would see in these kind of studies that like after like a course of 3 years investment in Power BI, companies will return more than 4 times the investment on the money they spent on this technology. And that's significant. And you have also here a 2.5% increase in operating income for the entire organizations that participated in that study. So what's the bottom line here is that the Power BI reports that we make are providing real income, real value to our companies that like theoretically can even be measured. And since those dashboards are providing real value, the question that I have for all of you is like, why don't we measure our dashboards, the effectiveness of them, in the same way that we as BI developers measure other business processes for our organization? Other business processes yield some revenues for our organization. So our Power BI reports, measuring those reports is super important as well. So to some extent, there is a kind of like rules of physics that are working against us, that's slowing us down to be able to measure the effectiveness of our dashboards. Like for us to build dashboards for our dashboards is something that we tend not to do. And this is what I call the cobbler walks barefoot kind of syndrome, right? Like we know how to build shoes, but we just don't have time to make shoes for ourselves. That's something that we always deprioritize. And that's a shame because our dashboards can return significant income for our organizations. So if we don't have a methodological way to measure their effectiveness, we are losing money, we are losing opportunity for our businesses. So today, when you think about, okay, we want to measure effectiveness of our dashboards, our Power BI reports. When I say dashboard, I mean basically the Power BI reports artifacts, because like the Power BI dashboards, the feature name dashboards in Power BI are not very common, not very effective as the reports that we have. I call them dashboard because they are just interactive. So when I say dashboards here, don't get confused with the dashboards in Power BI. They're talking all about Power BI reports in this case, and their semantic models as well. So there are existing tools that allows you to measure efficiencies at some level, but not effectiveness. Usage metrics, for example, it's a solution that allows you to manage at some level usage at the workspace level, allowing you to see which users are accessing reports and the pages themselves, but it's only at the report page level view. You cannot get anything about like user clicks and what exactly users are doing within the report themselves. And all the other features like the admin monitoring and the Power BI activity logs and Microsoft Fabric capacity metrics apps and Azure Log Analytics, all of them focus more on auditing of developers and administrators or on performance improvement. And that's it. So if you are into measuring business impact for your dashboards, you need to measure activities that are triggered by the end users that consume those dashboards, not the times that the BI developer make a change in the semantic model, but the times that the end user consume the reports. So there are many elements that today just like cannot meet the user requirements that you would have if you would want to build the dashboards to measure the effectiveness of your own reports. In this case, let's think about, for example, digital marketing, which is, I think, one of the great examples. So imagine that you have a website, or it's not just a website, it can be even like a software as a service, a web app that you sell for your end users. In our case, the analogy for the web app or the website is our Power BI reports. But let's just move from Power BI reports and think about web apps. So how do you measure effectiveness of a web app or a website? You do that by measuring the usage in those pages. And for example, if you are like a blogger or you have a website, you probably know about Google Analytics as an example, or there is also Microsoft Clarity, another tool that provides you the tracking of usage. There is a portfolio of products called Digital Adoption Platforms, DAP, that are all focusing on analyzing websites. And so now imagine back to Power BI, when Power BI usage metrics just give us the number of hits on the page, right? The number of times users opened something. That's not enough for if it would be a website or a web app. It just, you cannot really tell anything just with that. So basically the motivation here is how can we build a solution that will act like a Google Analytic on our own dashboards. Now the thing with Power BI, in Power BI, you cannot use solutions like Microsoft Clarity or Google Analytics and instrument JavaScript into Power BI because Power BI is a black box. Even if you embed Power BI in other web application, you cannot use third-party tools to track the actual activities within Power BI. So that's also like something that is not available. I'll pause here just like to see if there are anyone on the chat with questions. If not,
Just a feedback here, Gil. Like Fernando mentioned, I'm in a project where the sales report, no one from the sales department looks at it, only the CFO. And Binal mentioned that after a couple of months, when I get notification that reports refresh has been automatically posted, then I know that report is not getting used anymore.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's a great insight here. Yeah, I should use it in my marketing content as well. Yeah, that's a good one. So
yes,
now if we are in a failing business of BI and we don't really care about the adoption and the effectiveness of our dashboards, then fine. But like if we really want to empower ourselves to be more impactful to our business and to be able to leverage insight, make informed decisions, to know how to optimize our dashboards in the best way we cannot just rely on waiting for like some day that nobody will use our reports or just look on just how many people open things that we create because you only get the end. Imagine that you have a house and you only check out like who is knocking the door and perhaps open it. Now they may enter the house or they can stay out. And inside the house, there are so many things that they can do in different rooms, right? Some of the things are good, some of the things are bad. And imagine that you could just tell who is knocking at the door and open it, right? It's so limited with what you can do. And without this knowledge, one day will come and you suddenly realize, right, nobody's using your reports anymore or nobody is really happy with it. So it's like super important to have the capabilities in this domain. Okay, so let's just move to like actual real demonstration, and then like you'll see a bit what we have here. Okay, so I'll just start with the last slide that I wanted to show you, which will be a bit technical, that will show you basically a solution. The solution that I will demonstrate for you today. So we'll talk about BI Pixie, the product that I developed. It's available on Azure Marketplace and also on Microsoft App Store. Both in two variations. The first variation, you can see it here on the left, is a Power Platform element that you can install on your environment. The other option is on Azure. And with the analogy that we had on Google Analytics and Microsoft Clarity and the need to understand usage inside the dashboards in a way that will allow us to understand the adoption and the usage of our end users, in this case, it's not enough. Microsoft doesn't provide any log, any information that will be equivalent to the clicks and the specific activities in the reports. And that's why we need to take an approach that will think like the way that you would do in digital adoption platforms, in the way that like marketing operated on tracking activity in websites and even in emails, to take this approach, but to think about this approach in the Power BI space. So BI Pixie as a solution, and I'll just show you here, like in the slide, the Azure version. There is another one here that will be like equivalent. This one is the Power Platform, but in a nutshell, the solution works in a very specific way. So you deploy the solution. It takes like less than an hour on Azure or Power Platform. It has a web service component that listens to events and a storage. Now, it's important to say, like I'm telling you about like this solution, the solution collects data about your users and reports on your environment. I, as the developer of the solution, I will collect no information about those reports. You will have it on your side, so everything remain in your organization's cloud network and accounts. So you install this element here, and then in your development environment where you have Power BI reports, you use the Power BI reports in the Power BI project format. If you are familiar with Power BI projects, it's like instead of a PBIX, you can store the reports in a combination of two different flavors. For the semantic model and for the reports, there are two formats for each. BI Pixie support both four combinations, and you can, once you have the Power BI project files, so it's a folder with lots of definitions and JSON files instead of a PBIX. BI Pixie can then, as an executable that you can place as part of your automations, it will scan your Power BI reports and analyze the way that they are configured, both the semantic models and the Power BI report definition, so all the visuals in them. And then it will add little elements that I call pixies because they are magical, but also they are super small, 1 pixel size elements that are inside your Power BI reports and are acting as tracking devices. Now, those tracking devices are completely native in Power BI. We are not using any custom visuals. There is no like JavaScript like Google Analytics. It's just table visuals with measures that sits in your Power BI reports. And this is the beauty of it. Now, when you publish those Power BI reports, you can publish them in Power BI Report Server on-prem. You can publish them on your workspace. You can publish them. You can embed them in any web app that you have, or third-party software as a service like Salesforce or ServiceNow. They can be the reports in the Teams or in Dynamics. Any place that is using the Power BI reports, also the Power BI mobile app, any place that uses those Power BI reports will have the same level of tracking activity that you'll be able to have. So now your audience will consume those Power BI reports, and the tracking device, the Pixies, will send information to the web service element that you installed on Azure or on Power Platform. The data will be stored in data storage that you own. So you have full control on the data, and you can build all kinds of customized elements on top of it. And you have also a dashboard that give you all the insights as if you would be a product manager, and the Power BI dashboards are your main business and you need to monetize them to the fullest potential. So I bring you kind of a best of breed dashboard with different KPIs on adoption, engagement, and many more. So let's just show you everything live. I start here by opening, this is a workspace that I have. I'll move here just on this side to show you. And let's just open one Power BI report as an example. Okay, so I have here a report, an online marketing report. Now, BI Pixie, as part of the operation of this report, is doing several things in the report. Now, nobody can see those elements because it's all kind of pixel size, so there is no interaction on the end users. And also, if you are the BI developer that open the reports, the pixies are all grouped together and hidden, so you can hide and see them, but they will be grouped and will not interfere with any activity that you have of building new stuff with Power BI. So as part of this solution, just like to show you, if I will click, for example, on bookmark 3. So now I click, as an end user, I click on bookmark 3. Now, because the pixies are here sending the information, I'm opening now the Power Platform version of BI Pixie. And when I will refresh it, you can see here bookmark 3 event. So you see bookmark 3 event coming from, now it's 8:32 p.m. my time, Central Time. In your side, it's right. We may be in different time zone right now with everyone in the session. But you can see this is the report name, marketing campaign, the page name. And if I will scroll to the right, I have additional information. So the event came from a bookmark navigator. I have here like the ID of the visual itself, and more information, including the user, the end user that clicked on the event itself. If I will go, for example, here, and in the country selector, I will select a specific country. Let's pick just, for example, right, we are in Vancouver, so let's just pick Canada. So I click on Canada in the report, and now you can see when I refresh, you would see here a slicer event. So the end user clicked on a slicer. This is the report, the page name. The visual type is a slicer. And this is like also like the ID and the title of the visual. And if I will go a bit to the right, you can see that Canada was detected as a value, as a filtered value. The distinct count of the dimension is 1. And this is the dimension, country codes, the column is country. If I will go back and add, in addition to Canada, let's select also China. Now you can see when I refresh, let's just go here and refresh. And just 1 second, let's refresh. Now you can see there is another slicer event. And then when I scroll to the right, you see now Canada and China were picked, and we have 2 distinct counts on the selection. Now there are many, many more events here. So for example, if I will just select all the countries, and I will go here in the map in US, and you see a tooltip opened, and you can see here, when I refresh, there will be a tooltip event. So there's a tooltip event with 3 logs, 1 for each field that is used in the tooltip. And I have here the information about like the values that were being used in the tooltip itself. More elements. Let's, for example, go to, I think, yeah, I have here a tab called unsubscription reason. This is a real dashboard that I created for email marketing. Why it's not, let's see. Okay, so you see, this is like a real customer data that is just, the data is obfuscated, but it's all like coming real from MailChimp. And here is an example, I have the reasons for unsubscribes. So if I will select, for example, this bar, spammy content, so you see I clicked on spammy content. Now, if I will refresh, you would see spammy content that was selected for a table called unsubscribed reasons, column name reason, and on the left, all the other information about the specific event, the report, the page, the type of the visual that was clicked as well. So many information is being collected as part of BI Pixie and more elements. For example, if you have operational dashboards where some data analysts work in an operation center in kind of a war room with many dashboards, and whenever there are some incidents, they see them in a Power BI report, and then there are some hyperlinks that they need to click on in order to open a ticket or investigate further in another internal system. In this case, BI Pixie will also recognize when I click on a link. You can see it went to, in this case, it will go to like a MailChimp account with some specific information. Or I will click on another link, it will go to some other place, right? Or I can even, in this case, there is a logo here that as a link. When I will click on that, it will also go to that other link. But BI Pixie will allow you to track all the links as well. So you see links events and the URL, the original URL that was used by the person, the specific visual. So here in this case, those links were provided in a table. That's the idea of the table. And in other cases, it was in an image visual. More elements, drill through. If I will do a drill through, I will have here a drill through event as well, right? Drill through are important element going from a kind of like a master to detail experience. If you want to understand if your audience is curious about your data and moves from like the main report, the main page with the summary, to another page to do some drill downs and go to details, you have the drill through element as well. So you can now segment your audience. What's the percentage of your audience that are actually interested in your dashboards and are doing drill through? You have drill through events as well. Anything that you click and slice, you have this information. So if I will, for example, select some dates, the dates will also be shown here as a slicer event, and I will see which dates were sliced. So if you want to define some better defaults for your audience, you can do that this way as well. And finally, I think like one of the cool things in BI Pixie is that, and this is optional, it's not mandatory, you can decide if you want to use it or not. Imagine that you have 10, 20, 100 Power BI reports that you send to your audience, and it's very difficult to get from them any feedback. They are super busy. When they meet you, they will just say, no, I want it in the last, I cannot have a data from less, if it's old, if it's 60-minute old, it's too old. We discussed that before we started the session. Or they can just tell you, no, we just want it this way, or no, I just want a table and export it to Excel. I don't care about everything else. You have different kind of people. Most of them will be very laconic with what they actually need. So the ability to engage with them and solicit feedback from them is super important. So BI Pixie allows you to instrument on every page a thumbs up, thumbs down, smile, frown experience, like the one that you see here. And you can see that we will have that in different pages, right? So now if I will click on the smile, you'll see here, when I refresh the data, there is a smile. The smile is captured as well, and the event is a feedback event. So now we can collect information about user satisfaction. Now, more than that, and this is something that I'm going to release tomorrow, in addition to just like thumbs up, thumbs down, smile, frown that you can customize and add to your reports. And by the way, this is all automatic. There is no manual effort on your side to implement it. You just use BI Pixie and it will add those elements on your reports. But the last one is when you click here at this button, you see share feedback. When I click here, I can get into this experience. Now I already kind of played with it by the default. By default, it will look like that, right? So you have here a survey experience using just native slicer. So instead of you going into a third-party survey tool, build a survey to your reports, ask a favor for your end users to click on a link to go outside to an external survey. Here you have a streamlined experience inside the Power BI report where users can go in. And now I can say if I have any issues in the report, so perhaps the report is missing some data or the calculations are incorrect. And I have a question about how many hours per month does the report save time. So perhaps in my case, the report helped me to save 11 to 20 hours. And even like questions like, is the report helping you on decision making? And by the way, all these questions are fully customized. You have a JSON file and you can just change the wording of the questions and the answers, and no worries regarding that. So let's say this report is significantly improving the decision making in my business unit. So I will click significantly improved. And even I may be lucky, and like yesterday, I was able to find an issue in one of like the sales team, and we identified a missing opportunity, and we were able to save something around $20,000. So I will check this out. And I have perhaps like a sales team, like hundreds of salespeople using this report. How likely am I to recommend this report to other colleagues? So I can select like, let's say 9. And now like all this information, you can see here when I refresh, the raw data is also stored here as feedback elements. So if I will scroll to the right, you would see all this information. You see all this information is stored here as well with the same mechanism. And now after everything is stored, you can now go to Power BI. So just like to show you, if you will go, and you can even do it like on your spare time without even like any commitment or actually deploying anything. You can just go to App Source and look for BI Pixie dashboard, and you'll find it here. And if you install this Power BI app, it will show you the data, the demo data, and all the things that we can analyze. So now let's move to the good stuff, which is like all the things that we clicked. Let me show you how all this information is being analyzed in the BI Pixie dashboard. So you'll get kind of the gist of it. So, and let me pause for a minute to see like if we have like any questions that we want to answer.
No, we are good. I think just
Okay.
people are like, this is so cool. Tim mentioned that. So yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's
Great.
awesome. Keep on going. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. Great. So this is the BI Pixie dashboard. You can install it for free on your solution, even if you are in a business of measuring digital products or measuring other products, and you want to have a good usage reports, and you want some inspiration, you can just install the app to get some inspiration. However, I can say like in advance, like the capability of tracking everything that I showed you here, it's something that I spent quite some time building. So I cannot give you like a kind of this is the technique that you'll be able to do the same on your own. You'll probably need to quit your job and spent 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get kind of where I got. So I recommend that you'll just like, if you think that you need the same type of capability, just contact me. Let's do just a free POC. In the end of the session, I will also share a link that you can just sign up for that as well. But just to show you here, so let's just go from like the end to the entire implementation. So we like last thing we talked a bit about the survey in the reports. So you can see if I will go to the survey analysis, and this is a new thing that is not available yet on AppSource. I will release it probably tomorrow, so it will be over the weekend. It will probably be available as well. So here, this is the survey analysis page where you can have a net promoter score, NPS, based on the 1 to 10 ratings that user provide on the different reports. So you have the total NPS and the distribution of the different ratings, and across the different reports, when you click on it, you will see how everything is affected. In addition to that, right, you have the detractors, promoters, and NPS. The time-saving element, how many hours are totally saved across the reports based on the question about the time saving, how much financial gains are made based on people that answer the financial question, and also total and average gains per respondent. And you have also the distribution of each of the questions. Here you can see what type of issues people are reporting, performance, missing data, calculations, right? You can just define your own categories for issues, so you will have it here reported. Now, let's say today I want my team to focus on performance issues. So if the report is too slow, I click on number 6 here. 6 people responded in the survey that the reports are too slow. I click on it, and these are the people that reported that issue. I can now reach out to them and ask them all kinds of questions to try perhaps to understand like what they are doing. I'll mention performance in a moment because there is a lot of performance in BI Pixie as well to help you kind of looking on the full picture, both engagement and business value, but also if you want to step back on efficiencies and just to improve the performance of the reports. After all, most of the experts in our business are focusing so much on performance, so I wanted to include that as well. So we'll see that. And I see, Fernando, you ask about define slow. Yeah, if it's like as a kind of, yeah, so it's all in the eye of the beholder, that element, but right, as the people that own the solution, we want to make sure that people will not avoid using our reports just because they think they are slow. It's something that we want to improve and fix, right? So I'll show you that just to give you like a pointer. There are 3 pages on performance that we will mention in a minute. So yeah, so this is like for the survey information analysis, and I can see all the information here. I can drill down. For example, if I want to see who is actually making so much money, gaining benefits, financial benefits with our dashboards, I can click here and I will see the relevant users. Now I can call them and bring them to our managers to brag about the impact that you make with your dashboards. So yeah, user satisfaction, another page just for the thumbs up, thumbs down, smile frown. Here you can see customer satisfaction rates, CSAT, based on the thumbs up, thumbs down. And you can also correlate the customer satisfaction with other engagement elements like monthly active users and the average interactions or clicks per session. Just like a bit back about like the activity. So you can see here, BI Pixie give you information about page clicks, visual interactions, slicers, bookmarks, tooltips, drill throughs, link clicks. So you can create kind of profiles of different users. And in some cases, it's like a funnel, right? Because like everyone is just opening a report, but the ones that are clicking on links and making a drill throughs are the things perhaps that you want to allow the data analyst to be able to do instead of just like opening a page and doing nothing with it. So you have this funnel experience, and you can select each one of the reports and see the relevant funnel for that report. There is an integration with Fabric, so you can even click on the actual report and go, if you have access to the report itself that you tracked, you can see the report from here. And then many other elements like user adoption. So this is like the typical product management KPIs. If you want to measure adoption like a professional, you will use monthly active users and daily active users. And the daily active users divided by monthly active users is the report stickiness. And it gives you like the percentage of the users that return to use the reports from monthly to daily. So that's an important KPI. You can Google it. This is like one of the main KPIs for user stickiness. Now, because BI Pixie give you the definition of active users can be either anyone that just opened the report, like you have in Power BI usage metric, or it can be those that are actually engaging and clicking. So you can decide which one you want to use here in the dashboard to make sure that you are not just counting just the passive users as part of the solution. So this is the adoption element, and you have user attrition as well. So I can see, for example, in November, one user clicked or did some activity in November in the report. These are the reports that they used. I can even like select specific report, for example, the marketing benchmark. And I have here in October 2024, someone that was the last time that the user used the report. When I click here, I can see the users that left until that date. So we have 3 users that left until that time period. So I can now reach out to them to try to ask why they left. So in addition to the attrition percentage, you can have the actual users, and you can use that to reach out to them before they will never go back. You can try to convince them to go back and try the report or gain some feedback from them to understand why they are not coming back. The heat map, this is like super cool in case you want to design engagement and you want to think about the reports is the same way that you would treat a software as a service web app. In this case, you will see the actual visuals and where they are clicked. In our case, I see here in this case, this specific page. And just like to show you, it's exactly the same as this one. So you see this page here. And this is the date slicer. And if I will go back here to the report, you can see that's the date slicer, the same one. When I click on the slicer, I will be able also to see the dates, the time periods that were selected. But in our case, since my audience are clicking here most of the time, perhaps I should move this slicer a bit up, or perhaps, for example, this visual, nobody clicks on it. So should I perhaps use this real estate and do something else there that is more significant for the users because they are not clicking on that one? So you can make decisions about like looking only on the user clicks and the data that they selected based on the specific pages. And just like to show you, when I switch from page to page, you will see that the layout is changing completely. And there is also like a tooltip here that gives you some information about the specific visual. There is another heat map now on performance. So if you use BI Pixie and you already collect performance information from Azure Log Analytics, you can combine it all together in the architecture of BI Pixie, and it will give you the performance information. So you can choose a performance KPI, like total CPU time as an example. You can use like the statistic element, like in this case, let's pick the sum. And now I can see every page with the specific performance KPI. In this case, it's the total CPU time. and I can select a specific page. In this case, that's a tooltip page as an example, or let's just pick something else like here, a page US vaccination. And now I can see this specific visual that I have here is the one that is triggering the highest CPU time. So if I have like a performance expert in DAX and he has only like 3 hours of time every week to help me, I can now send him directly, just like, to try to query this specific DAX and try to optimize it. Okay, if we speak about performance, you have more elements. So for example, you can look at about the performance over time across the different pages. So if you improved something, you want to see if there is some regression, you will be able to see it on a timeline. But also you can go at the level of a specific visual as well. And you can see for every visual, the actual DAX query that is relevant. So if like you want some quick thinking about like how to triage different elements and decide who is going to handle what and when, you have this information here. But I think the beauty of performance, when you combine performance with engagement, you can prioritize it much better. So for example, here on the x-axis, you can see performance. I can select the duration or total CPU or the other elements that are available in the Azure Log Analytics on the semantic models. And on the y-axis, I can, for example, select how many interactions on average users have per session. Or even, let's take, for example, the time, the duration users stay at a page, interacting with the page. Right? And BI Pixie gives you duration based on understanding all the activities within the same report page user over a sequence of like events over different logs. So in this case, you can see these are all the pages that I'm analyzing, and I can, for example, decide this specific page here has very low latency of time, like the duration people stay in this tooltip is very slow. Obviously, it's a tooltip, so perhaps it's not a very interesting element. Let's perhaps ignore the tooltips, right? I can zoom in, and I have here, okay, this is COVID-19 Power BI page, and I see that it has a very high consumption. So total CPU is very high. Perhaps my fabric capacities are now kind of CUs wasted on this page, and users are not staying so much. The average duration staying is not so much, meaning that it's like, perhaps in terms of priority, you may decide how to prioritize it. Definitely, when you just count the number of clicks, it makes more sense that if you have reports like these reports here, this one here has very few number of clicks, but very high performance. So you can decide, is it worth for me to fix that? Is like perhaps the number of clicks it means that the report is already not like very successful. Perhaps you should start and prioritize the reports that have a higher number of clicks. In any case, if you have a visual with many clicks in it, then it makes sense that it will kind of consume a lot of your resources, and the duration may be longer over time. But for visuals that doesn't have so many clicks and they're still too slow, those are a waste of your resources. So you either want to just remove those visuals or improve their performance to gain better engagement for those. And there is like so much more in BI Pixie, and I know we are close to finish the session in terms of the 1 hour. So I'll just like show you the last one here that I wanted to show. Remember that when we clicked on different things in every visual, every slicer, data is being collected. So here in the data auditing, you can start to see kind of like a popularity context of all your dimensions in the visuals. What data users are selecting, and you can use it for 2 use cases. One, for example, imagine you have a sales dashboard and different salespeople sell multiple products. and they can choose which product they can analyze in a dashboard, and perhaps then click on links to go to some resource sales material about those products, or go and update Salesforce opportunities from the Power BI report. So by looking on like which type of products they clicked on, you can understand how much products are popular as well. So it's now BI Pixie gives you much more than just improving the experience of the reports. It gives you understanding of your audience and what they do and what they prefer, and that can yield to actual business decisions that are beyond the report itself. The second use case is auditing, and you can use that, for example, someone in your organization had a hack in his computer, and you are concerned perhaps that since last week, perhaps if a hacker used that user to open the Power BI report that the user has access to, and you want to see what the user actually clicked on and what the user was able to see. So now I can select a specific user, and then, like for example, here I clicked on a specific user, and I can see over time like what they clicked on, and in this case, even like if there are any anomalies on selecting specific elements with some, like at some date, some values, some dimensions are clicked or viewed in a very high rate, that will help you understand if actual data was leaked and if there was some bad intention from external audiences that have access. It can be also insider threat, someone, actual employee in the company that decide to abuse their power and use the data in a way that they shouldn't. You will be able, based on this data, to build experience that will show you the outliers and users that are perhaps slicing too much in data that perhaps they should be able to see, but perhaps you don't want them to kind of take too much power. Other element, if you implemented row-level security on a large scale, row-level security on different roles with different hierarchies, and managers may have different things that they can see beyond just their specific sales data. They can see data on their peers, and they can see data of their specific region and all the sellers that report to them. So there are many complexities of how you implement row-level security. And if you have bugs in row-level security, it's very difficult to find it on time. Most likely, you will have people accessing data that they shouldn't. So BI Pixie can help you detect even in real time, because BI Pixie can be integrated into real-time dashboards and Fabric with the event hubs. So you can build a solution now that will give you a real-time alerts when people from Europe see sales data from UK, so US or Canada and US. Now, perhaps I should not mention that, but so like if someone from US is looking at some data in Canada, you will get immediate trigger alert, and BI Pixie can help you with that, and you can get the decision also filter by specific dimension tables and their columns and the value in themselves. And also, if you unfilter the distinct count, you will see all the data that is by default loaded in visuals. But if you slice it by one, this will be the actual single clicks that the user made on those visuals. Yeah, so that's it. Just like I'll give you some time also to ask any questions, but just like the final thing I wanted just to share with you, you can use this QR code to access basically this like specific, I think I opened it here. So this is just like a form. If you provide your information here, you can get a free 30-day. I usually charge for POC as part of my consulting business, but if you want to try it for free, you think you have the permissions in your organization to deploy the BI Pixie elements, I can work with you in person, live sessions, remote. Obviously, if you want to pay, I'll come to your office as well. But it's all free, 30-day, 30 reports, and you can see the value of this solution.
Oh, thanks. Wow, that was quite a lot. I just have a couple of feedback and question for you, Gil. From Tim, he just suggested add a survey question. Do you approve 10% financial benefits given to the BI department? And so just
That's
add that.
that's a great element. Yeah.
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 And
if you
yeah, go ahead.
No, just like this is like, if you see my screen, this is like the JSON file where you can define like the questions. And so, for example, right, like this is the money question. You can define the question here and just use how much money, if you want them to donate to the business team, like to do some funding
Yeah.
for the team, you can just add that as a question here.
Nice. And it has he shared a feedback. The BI Pixie is also good for data governance, so which is really nice. One question Tim asked is, did a specific user actually see data? I guess he means BI Pixie data or the audit data you have here.
You mean the
Did
end
it-
user?
Yeah, I guess that's end user. Yeah, Tim?
Yeah, I was just saying that comment was really in coordination with, it seems like BI Pixie could be a really good data governance tool, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned if you accidentally provided too much access, like if somebody went in and said, "Oh, let me give access to these set of users," and all of a sudden people who weren't supposed to see that data started showing up, right? You would be able to see that based upon BI Pixie, correct?
Correct. And you can have it even in a real time and implement like a real-time dashboard in the real-time intelligence component. I don't provide this out of the box, but out of the box you get the real-time event collection in the event hubs. And also, just like every time the semantic model will refresh, perhaps it's not real time, right? But every hour, if you set the semantic model of BI Pixie to refresh, you can customize it as you see fit to define the logic of like what are users and what they should see and not be able to see. Like, so you can basically combine between users or group of users. There is a customization allowing you to put users into different business units and department and regions. So then you can basically mix between those groups and any table and column and value that you have in the data. So just build those visuals and customize it as you see fit.
That's pretty cool.
Awesome. And Binal has a feedback and a question for you. He said that this was nice intro to BI Pixie. He will look into it further, like what it has to offer. And he has a question also, which Fernando, I think, also wanted to know. Does this BI Pixie tracks data when your reports are embedded into company website?
Absolutely. The same level of data can be reported. By the way, even if you use the publish to web feature, it will collect IP addresses of anonymous users. If you use embedded Power BI embedded using, for example, app owns data format, where you can basically propagate user authenticated identities into Power BI using the custom data, row level security and whatnot. All this information is tracked as well. So you can have everything also with embedded. So both embedded and not embedded, you'll get all the data there with the heat map and all the information. just like to show you very like in a second. This is like, for example, my like there was the Power BI competition. So we had the Love team in the in the Power BI worldwide data visualization competition last week. So the first week was about love. So I built this dashboard where here on the top, you can click on who you are, who your significant other is in terms of race and skin tone and what kind of love you have, and it shows it here. And here at the bottom, everyone who is clicking this report, because it's all anonymous, it's on the gallery, on the Power BI gallery, so you can just go there and click, and every 30 minutes the report will refresh, and you will have all the information here of all the users that clicked. So that's like
Nice.
the first dashboard that is tracking itself. Yeah, and you have also all the others. So the data auditing here, and duration, like this is what's the duration people stay at the reports, and you add also, right, you add here thumbs up, thumbs down, love, hate that you click, and you get that. So yeah, all the information is here, and the IP address is basically like masked as so I don't collect any information, but based on the IP address in this case, because those are anonymous users, I can still understand unique individuals this way, even without their identity. So the
Yeah,
same way we'll go with embedded.
cool. Another question just came from Manish. He said, what is cost of this solution? Is it subscription mode or one-time purchase?
Yeah. So yeah, that's important question. So Manish, the model is subscription, and the subscription is needed because every time you make a change in a report, let's say you add a new page, you delete visuals, you add visuals, you add anything that you do there, you would want the instrumentation, the automation to scan the report again. It's super easy. I can do you a demo if you want offline. So basically, it's part of your application lifecycle, CI/CD. You would put BI Pixie there every time you make change. So that's why the subscription model makes sense. You want to keep using the automation to update everything to be report correctly. Otherwise, you use it only once, and then over time, as the report will change, it will keep tracking things, but not the things that you want. Now, regarding the cost itself, it is adjusted based on the needs and the company size and the number of reports and end users. But as a starting point of like around 10 or 100 reports, it is like the price is $20 per report per month, but there is a minimum that I'm kind of providing depending on like the specific use case of your company, organization, etc.
Awesome. So on that question, if somebody has a questions or queries around it, like what's the best way to reach out to you?
So best way, you can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm very approachable, and also I think it will actually be even easy. Here you can see my email address. It's gilra@datachant.com, or you can just find me on LinkedIn, and I will be glad to talk with you, and let's do a POC.
Yeah. One question I think I missed to ask, which I wanted to ask as well, which Bipal asked and Fernando also wanted to know. How about paginated reports? Does it also cover paginated reports?
So right now I didn't explore that element, like basically because paginated reports are less interactive in their nature, and most of the use cases would be just to distribute them as data to audience in many cases. so the interactivity is less important. Having said that, if you have a use case where it's important, I can do like a few hours research on like if I can incorporate the same technology inside. Most likely it's possible, but the easiest thing would be just to use the custom visual of paginated in a Power BI report, and then it will be tracked, not perhaps the specific like nuances inside. But if a paginated report acts like another custom visual, when you click on an element, it affects other visuals. I'm not sure how it works with that. I haven't done hands-on with paginated for 5 years, so I'm not sure if when you click on a row in a paginated report table, does it click on other visuals?
No.
Yeah. So that in that case, so right now it's not supported, but just talk with me and I'll see what we can do.
Got it. No, that sounds good. Yeah, we'll talk about that, Gil. I can give you a quick rundown on paginated reports and all the stuff.
Yeah.
So Manish has a feedback. He said, okay, sure, I'm part of central reporting team. I can suggest this to my manager. We had built this kind of tracking, but not this much granular level. Thank you, and he will reach out to you soon. Thank you very much, Manish.
Thank you, Manish.
That's really good. I'm just gonna quickly to wrap up this session. I know it, sorry, everyone, it took a little longer, my fault, because we started a little late, but I'm gonna quickly share my screen so that we can just wrap this up. And I don't think I have anything to show, but where are my Power BI, my thing? I share what I'm sharing right now. I'm gonna share everyone. Oh, sorry. Okay, here you go. So we already look at that. So this is where is my next presentation? Damn it! Next week. No, next week. Here you go. I'm gonna unhide this slide, which I wanted to show what is coming up next. So we are back on April 17th, which is approximately a month from now, and Bob Duffy is joining us from replacing your ADF pipelines with notebooks in Fabric. This is so cool. I'm not sure how many of you guys started using notebooks. Sandeep, I don't want to talk about him. He lives in that world. I started using notebooks. I told myself I don't want to learn new technologies because I think I have learned enough, seen enough. I'm happy with what I've learned, but I think somehow I get sucked into this since the Fabric came up. And I think the next session we're gonna see what he has to offer. So that's what coming up next. Thank you everyone for joining again. If you guys have a question for Gil, you guys know where to reach him on LinkedIn or all the stuff. The recording will be available. Thanks for joining and thanks for your feedback. I really appreciate that. And thanks, Gil, for your time. This was really awesome. This is crazy. I really have to go install it in my tenant and explore it and then to play with it. It's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to bring it to customers, right? It's basically can give you added value on delivering better for your clients, and that's
this is very unique. I haven't, as you said, I don't think anybody else has done this, but seems very different, very unique and different approach. So I'm pretty sure it has a lot of business value there. But yeah, I'm gonna play with it for sure after watching this. This is the first time I'm exploring this. So thanks for sharing all this stuff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, thank you.
If nobody has any other question, I think we are good to go. But please, if
Thank
you
you,
have
Parth.
questions, yeah. All right, Fernando, thank you. Fernando is always core of our
Thank you,
user
Gil.
group.
Thank you, Par.
Yeah, thanks, Bidamal. We'll see you on FabCon. Binal, you are
Yes.
coming to FabCon? No?
No, actually, I'm not coming.
You're not? Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be missing out, but yes.
Sorry, I didn't ask. Where are you from?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Oh, we'll talk later on. I spent too much time in New Jersey recently,
Would
last year.
love to meet you then.
Not anymore. There was a one project just to. Did I stop the recording? I should. Stop recording. Stop. No, I